Carlton. It's been a while. I'm Melanie. So I actually want to start my set off with a little bit of a disclaimer. Apparently, so there are some parts that are like sad when they're supposed to be, funny. And the thing about jokes I found with stand-up when you're telling, like when they verge, sad and funny, they can sort of go either way. A lot of the time, the audience will sort of like, aww, which just is not what I want. It's not why you're here. It's not why I'm here. I don't want your pity. So in order to sort of avoid that, I'm just going to intersperse some of the sadder bits with funny words. It's going to go great. You'll see. So I was off campus last term. I was abroad, studying abroad in Europe, very briefly before I went home to be on mental health medical leave, bazinga. Not really ideal for a study abroad experience, but I do sort of feel like I still have a quintessential European study abroad experience, just like with my own twist on it, So like having a panic attack in a creperie, bazoinga. Having a panic attack in front of a bidet, bazingas. Or having a panic attack on the banks of a beautiful canal, bazoinks. So I did go home. It wasn't really fun for me there. Once I was home, I did that dog walking app thing. I don't know if you're familiar, WAG. It's sort of like Uber, except for dog walking. So like, for everybody's on-demand dog walking needs, it was a market that needed to be filled. It was going pretty well until I accidentally left a bag of dog shit in somebody's apartment. It was a nightmare. I think about it all the time. What do you even do when you return to your home and there's like an unexpected bag of dog shit there? Do you immediately recognize it as a bag of dog shit? Do you need to pick it up first? I don't know. I hope I never know. You might be wondering if I got a really bad review. I'm actually not sure. I never opened the app again. I got an entirely new job. I worked at Lush. Okay. It's basically, some of you seem to know, it's very trendy. It's a store that basically sells fancy soap. And my job was, someone would say, I would like to buy some fancy soap, please. And I would say, are you sure that you wouldn't also like to buy this fancy soap? So it was a really good gig. And one of my favorite parts of it was actually my commute. I took the train there, and I began to really cherish that 20 minutes that I could just relax and do whatever I wanted. But there was one thing that could sort of ruin the train rides for me, and that was train creeps. The thing about train creeps that I find the most frustrating is that they have just total control over what I do on my commute, and that they can on one hand just leave me alone and let me do my crossword, and on the other hand they can act in such a way that instead I plan an escape route. I have a favorite train creep. He was a guy who moved seats to sit next to me, and he immediately said in a very accusatory tone, "Why didn't you vote for Donald Trump?" Because I guess he saw the Hillary Rodham Clinton forehead tattoo that I have. Regardless, he did not murder me, so I guess it was fine. I actually had a lot of train experiences while I was gone from Carleton. I also took a lot of trains when I was in Europe. And because I was just so sad all the time, bazinga. I sort of feel like I adopted a new persona, and she was Mysterious Train Girl. And it's ooh, who's that leaning her head against a window? Are those muffled sobs? And then before that, summer before that, I lived in New York City, so I took the subway all the time. I actually kind of liked the subway, except there was one incident. There was a night that I was going home, and it was pretty late. It was 2:30 a.m. or something, and I got down to the platform, and the train was really delayed, 45 minutes or something, just an eternity. And I was immediately so bored. I was trying to fuck around on my phone, but I was constantly looking at the countdown clock on the wall, and I quickly noticed that it seemed like the times on my phone and the wall were not matching up. So I did what any sane, stable person would do, and I tested it. I pulled out the timer on my phone, and I tested the minutes on the wall. Some of the minutes were as long as 1 minute and 50 seconds. 50. What the fuck? Like time was literally moving slower down there. The New York City Metro Transit Association was gaslighting me objectively. Train did come eventually. It took me home to Brooklyn, where I lived. I actually, though, lived in a part of Brooklyn that is not gentrified. Pretty much the only things that you could find in my neighborhood, there were laundromats, barber shops that were specifically branded as being unisex, and bodegas. For those of you that are not as familiar with big city living, a bodega is basically like a convenience store where you can get everything you possibly need if you live just like a disgusting life. So, all varieties of snack foods, canned foods, usually like a full deli, sometimes a produce section, which in my experience was often just limes. So yeah, not gentrified. But because of that, I would feel really bad just like existing, walking around in my neighborhood. I would, wearing my overalls and my artsy Swedish backpack, just being like the hipster fuck that I am, this insufferable hipster fuck, face of gentrification. And I feel like I would make eye contact with people, and I could see in their eyes that they were like, no, not yet. And I had the impulse to be like, no, you're not. Like, I'm just subletting. I'm only gonna be here for a couple of months. I'm not an indicator of anything. I'm not, one of them. I'm gonna do a stand-up set where I make jokes about, the terrible thing that is gentrification, truly horrific. But I'm not gonna tell my friends that this neighborhood's up and coming. So don't worry, not gonna write a blog post about it or anything like that. Something else that really stands out to me in my experience living in New York City was just all the time that I spent alone in my room watching Law & Order Special Victims Unit. Yeah, I love that terrible, terrible show. It's so bad. And if you guys don't mind, I was hoping I could relay my favorite Law & Order SVU scene to you. You might be thinking, Melanie, we came here to watch stand-up, not to hear you literally tell us a scene from SVU word for word. And to that, I would say, you didn't pay for this. I could do literally whatever I want with you guys. So, let me set the scene. Ice-T, as Detective Finchitola, is at the coroner's office. And the coroner says, it seems that he ejaculated pre-mortem. And Ice-T says, English, please. So obviously that's incredible already. I don't know what words he didn't know, but I love it. She was prepared, the coroner was prepared, so he said English, please, and she said, he came, and then he went.